What's going to be nice about using this ESC along with it having the FOC technology is the fact that the ESC and brushless motor are integrated. So hey guys, welcome back to Revolution XRC. In this part of this Element Enduro Builders Kit build series, I'll be adding this Hobbywing Quicrun Fusion brushless motor, 2-in-1. It's a ESC motor, 2-in-1, and also these Junfac Driveshafts for the Element Enduro. I'll put a link to both of these items in the description below, but let's go ahead and kind of take a look at these. The reason I've wanted to use this is I've been a very big fan of the Hobbywing Axe FOC system, and this is a perfect setup for this rig. I feel like being a 2-in-1, you save some space, so I don't have to worry about a separate ESC. I can just have one sitting there at the motor position. What's going to be nice about using this ESC along with it having the FOC technology is the fact that the ESC and brushless motor are integrated, so that it's just one 550 size can. I don't have to have an ESC sitting on the battery tray or on the rock sliders or anywhere else on the rig, so it significantly cleans up the interior of my chassis, which is what I wanted. And we'll go ahead and open this up, take a look at what we get here. As you can see here is the Hobbywing Quicrun Fusion, and it fits right there. You can see that it's just got a XT60 battery connector, a power on and off switch, and a wire that goes to your receiver, and that's about it. So nothing else to attach this to, no separate ESC, it's all integrated 2-in-1. It also comes with a programming card to allow you to set different settings for this ESC. It's kind of like the Hobbywing 1080, where you can use that program card to program the Hobbywing 1080. In that manner, you can do the same thing with this Quicrun Fusion. The Hobbywing Axe comes with a Bluetooth system, so it's a little bit more sophisticated than this Quicrun Fusion, but this being of a lower tier than the Hobbywing Axe, they provide you with this simple to use programming card instead. So now to program this Hobbywing Quicrun Fusion, all you have to do is to remove this rubber cover here for this plug in the programming card right there. Make sure the negative wire is correctly plugged in on the correct side, and then you can go ahead, plug a battery in, power it up, and go ahead and go through your values and set what you want for each value. So very easy to use, really intuitive system, and definitely looking forward to using this. Now, the Element Enduro drive shafts are actually pretty good drive shafts. The insert is metal, so they don't have a chance of twisting, and there really is no reason to switch them out otherwise. But the reason I am going to be putting these Junfac Driveshafts in is because they're a little bit thinner in diameter, and I need as much clearance as I can get. So the stock drive shafts for the Enduro are a little bit thicker or bigger in diameter, and I just want more clearance because I'm running so low. I just don't want the drive shaft to touch the battery tray or this custom 3D printed brace that I made. And I believe that these drive shafts will be narrow enough for me to kind of feel safe about running this low without having any interference on the drive shafts. Another thing I wanted to kind of mention, originally I had planned to use the Team Garage Hack 2.0 transmission right here with the Quicrun Fusion on this chassis, but because I am running so low, I am running into a few clearance issues as far as this front upper link hitting the motor, and this transmission being so far forward that the Fusion might hit the battery tray. So there's probably a way to do it. probably design something in 3D print to kind of place this transmission where I want it to. But that's going to be a future project, and I won't do it in this part of the series. It's going to take me some time. I don't know when I'll have time to get around to that, but you'll notice that I did buy the Team Garage Hack adapter plate to adapt this transmission to the stock Element transmission bolt pattern. So this will bolt up to the stock Element transmission skid, but we still have the placement issue of this motor. I mean, if I were probably to use an outrunner motor, it would probably work perfectly fine, but I really do want to use the Fusion. I got to use it somewhere, and I want to use it in this rig. So this 2.0 is likely out of the question for me so far, or right now, until I have time to kind of investigate trying to position this transmission where I want it in the future. So I'll save that for a later part of the series if I get around to it. This transmission also does come with the skid, and just as a heads up, the skid that comes with the 2.0 transmission, you're going to have to extend the rear rod ends because the links are closer together at the skid plate. And you also have to find some clearances as far as the upper link, especially if using high clearance upper links with that skid as well, because it's a flat skid and it basically moves the lower links up to the same level as the upper links. So those are things you'll have to figure out, and maybe I'll take a look into doing in a future part of this build series. But for now, we're going to stick with the stock transmission and this Hobbywing Quicrun Fusion. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to remove the drive shafts and the transmission from the skid plate in order to replace the motor. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, I've got the transmission removed. Let's go ahead and remove the rest of the drive shafts. Okay. We go ahead and open these drive shafts right here. Alright, so I just came across an interesting thing with these Junfac Driveshafts as far as how they are attached to the output drive. So most drive shafts use a pin that go through the drive shaft capture cup with the output drive. These drive shafts use 2 grub screws on each side, and I'm not sure if I'm quite happy with that setup. I'm going to look for some screw pins that are thin enough to go through these drive shafts and through the outputs. But for right now, I'll stick with the grub screws. And if I do find the correct size screw pins, I'll definitely update this video or give you an update in a future video. For right now, we'll stick with these grub screws though. Not really happy about the way that's set up. Kind of iffy if you ask me. I'd rather have a screw pin going through the output, but we'll go ahead with this for now. Might as well just go ahead and thread lock this even though I'm going to swap it out for a screw pin. But in the meantime, I do not want to lose these grub screws. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, this kind of setup kind of makes it hard to tell whether it's lined up perfectly. Definitely gonna switch it out for some normal screw pins. If I had known that it comes with this kind of setup, I probably would have gone with something different, like some incision drive shafts for the SCX-10-2, which should work as well. But too late for that now, and we'll just have to see if this is going to be an issue or not, or if I could solve it by finding some screw pins that are suitable for these drive shafts. Okay. Go ahead and move to the front. Okay, next thing we're going to want to do is to put the Quicrun Fusion onto the transmission. Go ahead and do that. Also remove the pinion, which I will be using on the Fusion. First thing I'm going to do before tightening the motor mount onto the motor is to line up the pinion. Okay. I like my mesh to have a little wiggle and click. Alright, the Fusion's mounted up to the transmission and ready to put the transmission back onto the chassis. Alright, so the drive shafts are fully connected to the transmission, and let's go ahead and bolt this transmission up. And just remember, the shorter screws go on the outside towards the rails, and the longer screws go towards the middle. Alright, this transmission and is mounted back up onto the chassis along with the Hobbywing Quicrun Fusion and the Junfac Driveshafts. Now you'll see that the Quicrun Fusion hooked up to the stock transmission has an ample amount of distance between the battery tray and the ESC/motor, so there's no issue with it coming all the way up to the battery tray like it would with the 2-point-low transmission. 2-point-low transmission would sit all the way up here, and so it's not an issue with the stock transmission. The other thing that you'll notice is that I don't know if you can see it from here, but this motor is high up enough where it's not going to interfere with the upper link right there. It was going to do that with the 2-point-low transmission on the stock skid, and I no longer have this link hitting the brushless motor ESC. It clears, so happy with that. It'll work, especially with how low this chassis is sitting for me right now. You also notice that I didn't put the spur cover on this transmission, and there's a reason for that. While the spur cover does, or theoretically should, help to prevent rocks and whatnot getting into this area, I usually don't have not much of an issue with it. But what does bug me about that spur cover is that it causes a lot of echoing noise, so your transmission does sound a lot louder with this cover on. With it off, you'll notice that the transmission is actually a lot quieter. You also notice that with these drive shafts, since they are narrower or skinnier, I do have a little bit more clearance as far as not hitting the battery tray or my mid chassis brace right there. So I've gained some clearance there as well. Alright, so the next thing we're going to want to do is to program this ESC. We'll go ahead and plug it in to the programming card as well as the battery. Take this right here and negative there. Okay, RPM throttle matching enabled. LiPo cells auto, 2S or 3S. I'll leave it on auto. I'm running 3S though most of the time, but auto is just fine. Cutoff voltage is on 3, which is intermediate. ESC thermal protection, I'll just leave it stock. Motor rotation, I don't know yet. It's on counterclockwise. BEC voltage, I'll put it on 2, which is 7.4 volts. Drag base brake force is level 4, which is number 5. Drag brake rate, level 5. Max reverse force is on 100%. I think I'm going to put it on 75. And that's it. So let's take a look at that again. Actually, drag brake force, I might want to up this up to, let's try level 7 or 8. Drag brake rate, maybe up this to level 6 or 7. Now let's go back to 6. All right, let's go ahead, turn this off. And let's test to see if the motor rotation is turning in the correct direction. So I'll plug this into my receiver here. It should be channel 2. Okay, it looks like I want to change the rotation direction of the motor. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, and we've now got the Quicrun Fusion all programmed and set, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified of the next part of my Element Enduro Builders Kit build series. Thanks for watching.